What is up, guys? I'm Mike Muhammad, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about Metroid Dread and why I think that we have just reached the point in fucking gaming where, I think every single developer of any type of game, no matter what game it is, you should just put a fucking game journalist difficulty level in your fucking game. Just have a setting, even if there's no other difficulty in the game, even if there's like a set difficulty in the game for the average fucking person who wants to sit down and play a fucking video game. Have there be this setting in the menus where it has like a picture of a crying infant or something, and have it set to game journalist mode. And just let the game journalist play the game on this fucking mode. And this is what will happen when they go into this mode. They start up Metroid Dread, and then you just go to the start menu and press skip or something. It's a button that only appears in game journalist mode. And what happens is you get all the upgrades, you get all the weapons, you don't explore anything, the map fully unlocks, and you just move on to the next area. You just see Samus killing the boss that you're supposed to kill at the end of this area. And that's game journalist mode. You don't get to play the game, you don't get to explore, you don't have to kill the bosses, you don't have to fight the enemies or anything like that. You don't have to escape from the enemies, the robot thing. You don't have to do any of the stealth sequences or anything like that. Literally, all you do is you just press a button and then you win the game. Because let's face it, that's all game journalists fucking want at this fucking point. That's all game journalists want, man. Like, game journalists, guys, let me explain something about game journalists, okay? And this is a 100% factual statement coming out of my mouth. Like, 95% of video game journalists who work for, like, a gaming outlet company, 95% of them are people who wanted to work for CNN or Bloomberg or fucking like MSNBC. They wanted to work for one of these serious news companies. They want to be a serious journalist. That's what they went to college for. That's why they got their English degree and their journalism degree. So they could work for CNN and MSNBC and all these companies. And then they went to the job interview and then they didn't get the fucking job they wanted. But then they found out that IGN and GameSpot and PC Gamer and all these other fucking gaming outlets were hiring. So now they work there, and they don't even fucking play video games. They don't even like video games. They just studied video games like in a rote way so that they could write about them. And that's what they do for a living. They write about video games even though they don't fucking like them because they're a failed journalist. That is most gaming journalists. That is like 95% of them are failed journalists. You can call it cynical if you want to. I call it the fucking truth, man. Most of these gaming journalists do not like fucking video games. And we're seeing this phenomenon happen now with Metroid Dread. Because this is what they've created with Metroid Dread, apparently. From people who have played the game, who actually like Metroid and shit, this is what we've figured out about Dread. Dread, they have actually created a fucking Metroidvania horror game to some extent. Like there's a feeling of genuine dread when you're being chased by the Emmy robots. They have perfected the control scheme of Metroid. Samus has never controlled better. They've given Samus more powers than she's ever had before. Samus has never been more powerful in this game. And consequently, the enemies and the bosses have never been more challenging in a Metroid game before. And Metroid games historically have been pretty challenging games. And this is the thing. This is why games like Zelda and Mario games like Zelda and Mario, they get 10 out of 10 reviews just handed to them because these games are also designed to be simple enough that like a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old child could beat them relatively effortlessly or with like relatively low challenge. Metroid was usually designed for like a more, not saying a kid could not beat like Super Metroid or whatever, certainly kids could beat the game, but like it was made for the type of person, whether you're a child or not, who's more willing to face a challenge and more willing to like commit to a game to end up like, because some of the fights in Metroid games have been pretty challenging. Sometimes the puzzles you got to solve are not as straightforward as the puzzles might be in Zelda games. So in general, like, I don't want to. I know this is going to sound corny. In general, Metroid games are more big brain, I think, than like Mario games and Zelda games. And that's no disrespect to Mario and Zelda games. I love Mario and Zelda games. They're fun. Mario, it's all about the platforming. Zelda, it's a lot about the exploration and the storyline and also the gameplay as well. But like, basically, Metroid games have historically been a lot more challenging. And so I'm just going to read a couple of quotes now from some of these gaming journalist articles talking about Metroid Dread. And the reason why this game hasn't been covered with 10 out of 10 reviews is because it's an actually fucking challenging game. People are claiming this is probably the hardest game in the series. So let me just read this. So this is a screen cap from 4chan somebody made. How many people are going to get filtered by this game? Holy shit. And here is the gaming journalist archive. I don't want to get the kind of good that's required here. I tried, and it was deeply unpleasant when I got stuck on a certain boss for multiple hours. So much frustration built up in my repeated attempts to beat it that there was no satisfaction when I finally succeeded. That was a recurring issue with the boss fights, with pathfinding, and even with some of the later run-of-the-mill foes that you encounter. The more I played Metroid Dread, the less I wanted to keep playing. I didn't manage to finish in the end, and I'm sure I never will. I'm sure I'll never enjoy video. I didn't enjoy video games today, and I'm sure I never will. That's what this fucking guy's saying. It's a damn shame. I love Metroid. No, you fucking don't love Metroid. I want to play all the Metroid and experience its whole story for itself by going to game journalist difficulty and pressing the skip button. But Mercury Steam decided, because they like video games for whatever reason, that only those people who pass the test, who master the controls, who happily throw themselves at challenges again and again, who, to use that atrocious shorthand again, get good enough, can experience all the joys and wonders that Metroid Dread has to offer. What a waste. Yeah, guys, let's just stop fucking pretending game journalists even want to play video games. Let's just make the game journalist difficulty. Press X to fucking win, okay? Press the skip button to fucking win. Just put these in games. Every game can be a 10 out of 10 fucking game if you put game journalist mode into it. These fucking game journalists disgust me, man, because, okay, this is the thing with Metroid, right? For those of you who do not know too much about the lore of Metroid, the word Metroid in the Chozo language, the Chozo are the alien species that raised Samus when she was orphaned. The word Metroid in the Chozo language means the ultimate warrior. That's why every game is titled Metroid. Because Samus Aran, she's like the queen of the Metroids. She's like the mother of the Metroids. She is the ultimate warrior. When you play these games, you want to feel like the ultimate warrior. That's the fun of the game. Think about it. In this particular game, Metroid Dread, they've given Samus so many abilities. Like, I've seen people playing the game, and Samus is, like, phasing around. She's shooting in perfect, like, full analog control aiming. She's fucking bouncing off of walls. She's, like, got so much mobility. She has so many different, like ammunition types she can use. She's countering. She's using melee against these bosses. Like, you have this counter move to counter direct attacks from the boss. Like, this is basically the most badass version of Samus Aran yet ever in a Metroid game. So doesn't it follow logically that if you've made Samus Aran, if she's like as powerful as Alucard from Castlevania now, if she's this powerful, shouldn't the enemies she's facing also be powerful? Isn't that what you want when you're playing a game about being the ultimate warrior? Like Samus Aran? Isn't that what you want? You want to feel like the ultimate warrior. And the only way you can feel that way is when you have all these abilities and all these powers that Samus Aran unlocks in the game. Yeah, then you want to fucking kill shit. You want to beat a fucking boss that's actually fucking challenging and is going to force you to learn all your abilities and is going to force you to take full advantage of everything that Samus has so you can beat them and then you can feel like you're the ultimate warrior. That's the whole point of the fucking game. And it just always amazes me how game journalists just continuously miss that point of the fucking game where it's supposed to be a fucking game, where you're supposed to have fun, where you're supposed to play the fucking game. So let's just stop pretending, guys. Let's just put a fucking game journalist game In every game, no matter how fucking easy it is, never underestimate how fucking terrible game journalists can be. Here's another one for you. Here's another fucking one. Metroid Dread is a great story wrapped in a hand-cramping, confusing grind. It's the rare work of art that births an entire genre, but Metroid accomplished this in 1986. See, these fucking journalists, they can sit down and write forever about like the history of games, because all you gotta do is read a fucking book and then write about it. It's like fucking writing an essay for English class. They can do that shit. Actually pressing buttons and playing a fucking game, that shit's difficult, man. I didn't study this in college. Oh my god. Let me see what else this fucking guy. Yeah, they just go on and on about how fucking hard the game is and how much my hand was cramping playing this game. I had to try so hard to beat this game, guys. It's not fair. Why do I have to try to beat a game? I don't know, man. I feel like game journalists are the least fucking qualified to write game reviews. There's very few game reviewers you can trust anymore. Most of them are on YouTube. Personally, I like Joseph Ferris, the guy who used to be with Commonwealth Realm. He's now with Game Explain. I think that guy, what's his name, RGT85, that guy made a pretty good review. And also, I really hope that the greatest game reviewer alive, Tim Rogers, ends up making a review of Metroid Dread or the Metroid series in general. So yeah, you can't trust these fucking game journalists, man. They hate video games. They don't like playing them. So I don't know. Metroid Dread is just another shining example of why every single fucking game on this planet needs a game developer mode where you press X to win, and now every game is 10 out of 10. Because the journalist didn't have to waste any fucking time actually playing the game. Okay? I'm Mike Mohammed. Thanks for watching.